I did a couple things. One, finished Spec Ops: The Line.
How's Spec Ops?
That's a very good video game.
Did you see the multiple endings or all that
I
shit?
certainly did. I did not feel like a hero,
Yeah,
and
that's like the best line. In the
and
whole
the
game.
the loading screens taunting you is certainly
Yeah.
definitely I can see that.
So
being shocking at the time. Thinking the key to this is putting myself in the mindset of 2012 or 2013 and where
Yeah.
games were at the time.
So it's you remember 2 weeks ago when you first brought this up, and I said the thing that I hate the most about that game is that the writer of the game spoiled the whole thing by telling you what he was inspired by when he wrote it. He's like, I'm basically doing the video game version of Heart of Darkness or Apocalypse Now.
Right, okay.
And you go, well, thanks, because now I 100% know what the whole game is about, when the beginning of the game is actively trying to fuck with you and obfuscate that.
Yes. So then like I watched a video about like the history of how it got made and stuff like that as well, where they went from taking this dead franchise that just got bland.
Oh, it was a bargain franchise. It was trash.
And, like turned it into this and stuff, and it was it was perfect for the name being a bargain bin franchise.
Yeah.
Coming into a genre that was saturated with something that was doing it differently. You know? So
and it starts off just like everything else.
Yeah, it really does. Like you've got you've got your hero squad, you got your coming in, you got your bad guys, you got your setup, and then
You got your cover.
Shout outs to In Media Res.
Yeah.
Good narrative device.
Everybody likes it.
Yep. And you do your cover shooting, But like, for something that I somehow managed to avoid
entirely, pretty much.
Yeah, I avoided the spoilers and everything like that. Like I got to experience it for what it was, and especially putting myself in the context of when it was released and what it did. Like I'm like, yeah, this would have absolutely fucked up any dumb kid that walked in, trying to grab the latest shooter, to play with his friends. There's definitely an understandable like backlash for some people that over the years it's been too overhyped.
Yeah.
And also some people were criticizing it for being like too I don't know what the right word is about its message, but it's like we're gonna remove all agency and then treat you like shit, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you call
it
that.
railroads you into bad decisions and then tells you you're dumb because you made those bad decisions,
right?
Even though they weren't really your choice at all.
So I had that, and I had fucking like assholes next to me on the couch to double down in those moments, certainly. But that was one of those things where, for example, with the Willie Pete scene, right? You go into that, and you cannot really avoid it.
Yeah.
But the thought that you could makes you feel worse.
There's a feeling, and
then the David Cage-ness of no, you had to have this moment happen.
This is when The Walking Dead started to fall apart. Is when you got to see that whatever decision you made would be the wrong one.
Yeah.
And people would shit all over you the whole game for it.
No matter what.
Yeah. And that removed like the inability to make the right decision.
Yeah.
Made the wrong decision sting less.
Yes. The agony of, oh no, I could have actually solved that problem, but I didn't, is not real.
Yeah.
So you don't feel as bad about it. And when before I beat the game, someone did tell me that like that scene in particular is unavoidable, right?
Yeah.
And it's such a defining moment in the game that I could see why they kind of got to that place of like, no, we want you to have to experience this.
Yeah.
At the same time, the video I watched that broke down its creation did have the creator saying that like we wanted to possibly have you go branching off into something else from this scene, but there was no time, there was no money, and it also would have weakened the story.
There's a good bit on the old Bombcast where when Jeff played it, he describes that during the Willie Pete scene, he was looking at the map and he immediately realized just from the map view what was actually happening.
Yeah.
And decided to not do that.
Yeah.
and the game just wouldn't go forward because the game needs you to fuck up.
Yeah.
And then he like resolutely does it.
Yeah.
And then the game's like, you monster.
Yeah, yeah,
and he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
go fuck yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Like,
it was Racevic that did the video. On
yeah,
it?
Racevic does good stuff.
Yeah,
I like his videos.
That was a really good video on it. So shout outs to Spec Ops: The Line 5 years later. Good video. So that's exactly it, right? And there's a couple of moments like that where in that one in particular, I could tell because of the cursor, right? When you use it when you're sweeping the cursor over everyone, like it's different. It behaves differently in those moments. And I had earlier ones where like, oh, like someone ran by and it was like, whoa, and I didn't like do anything wrong, and I kind of avoided like potential tragedies, and whatnot. So earlier moments, you had chances to do the wrong thing, and like I did the right thing there. In this particular one, even though I just like it was like I totally instantly like I pressed it and then I was like no and oh fuck, because it was just totally a mistake.
Perfect.
So that's ideal for what they want.
That's ideal. That is the absolute perfect way for that to go.
For that in that scenario. But then in other versions of that later on, there's other moral choices you can make and things like that. I managed to do the not bad thing.
Yeah.
No,
but you did though.
But then there's one where I think it was literally like the branch between choosing to like I think it's like the hostage situation. Do you remember that one?
No, I'd never played it.
Okay.
I've absorbed it entirely through academic essays on it.
Okay. So there's a hostage situation where you can choose to save an important hostage or save some civilians that are in trouble.
Sure.
And like I didn't like the way the level was set up was one where like it was not clear how to go about rescuing the civvies in that situation. Maybe my powers of observation were just really poor, but like I kind of went to go a separate way and I didn't really see a different path, so I kind of just went to
you made your choice.
But otherwise so I can understand people who do say that, right? I can understand the people that are saying that like it's calling you a piece of shit for something you list. It's like, yeah, but there was no option. Yeah, exactly, right? But again, I don't know how many other games are really trying to pull this off at the time, and I do understand that some of those moments require.
Yeah, and I think the strength of it is that they do that a lot, but they get everybody to some degree at least once. They do. You described that on your big moment, it totally got you.
It got me,
and that's enough. Even if some of the other moments fail,
but it was almost a moment of like, even before I pressed the button, I knew exactly what I was looking at, and then I just accidentally, it was ideal, right? The other problem, of course, is that let's say I was not playing for an audience there, right? My instinct would be to waste my time on a couple of effort tries, giving it the good old college.
Then you would have gotten to see all the seams.
Trying to give it the good old college and note that you cannot move forward.
You're not allowed.
You're not allowed. At which point then I go, oh, okay, well then I don't feel bad anymore.
It was fate.
Right? You are railroading me.
Yeah.
But I did not want to go on this road, So all that aside, I do think all of that is still comes to a really great payoff where even the conclusion is like, this conclusion is satisfactory, and then the forks towards your endings, of which there are 4, are all really cool. Yeah. So
I wish that game played better. Like the actual playing of that, because I sat down and was like, I'm gonna do Spec Ops, and I started playing it. I played for about an hour and a half. I'm like, I'm just gonna watch some of this stuff because playing the games kind of sucks.
So it's interesting because I am not a cover shooter person that knows enough to know, like, oh, this is great or this is a bad one. But I can say that I heard mixed all the way around, right? So I heard people saying pretty forgettable cover shooter mechanically. I've heard people say solid, but nothing like revolutionary, but all in all pretty good. And then I heard people saying absolute dog shit shooting.
No,
so it's literally everyone had a different opinion that they thought the shooting was, and I'm like, I don't
It is
know.
firmly average, but it came out around the time that there were tons of, that was in the Gears of War heyday.
Yeah, roadie running is a part of the game.
So it came out and was firmly average, and it wasn't nearly as good as Gears of War, so it felt like shit by comparison.
It definitely doesn't feel as good as Gears of War. That I know for sure because I've played Gears and I can make that comparison. But and it's better than I don't know, like some
Kill
old
Switch.
shitty, but I also said like I gave Win back the time of day.
You did give one back the time of day
because I had an N64 and I really wanted it.
Oh boy, that's
bad.
That's true.
So there's stuff like that.
Motherfucking win back.
What I will say is that for what it was, like it's pretty straightforward. The painting system with your command button was pretty cool. Although it resulted in some hilarious hijinks where your dudes were so focused on killing the target they'd run into live fire. So you had to be, I guess, responsible about the targets you picked for them.
You guys are idiots. Why you guys do this? Why you do this?
Lugo and Adams, good job. Nolan North's best role.
I don't know, dude.
Okay.
He was
that
the
I've heard.
Space Sphere.
That I heard. That's the best Nolan that I've heard. And I've missed out on a lot of Nolan.
Did you hear him in the Space Sphere?
No.
No. You didn't play Portal 2?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was like almost every single one of those personality spheres.
Oh, I was thinking of, like, Steve Merchant.
Oh, yeah.
Well, anyway, I feel that Nolan North fucking killed that. Early-ass Nolan.
Yeah.
Did an amazing job. And, like, the gameplay, the narrative, changing lines at the beginning from a soldier going in to do the job and being professional to eventually being more tired and exhausted to being absolutely fucking good by the end of it is fantastic. And those little things, like, you start to notice them and then they ramp up.
So, yeah.
And it turns out what they did was had the entire acting, all the actors like ran through the script of the whole game like 3 times.
Yeah.
And they would literally get them more worn out each time, so they had different versions of it.
Yeah.
And then like by the end, some of the barks you're hearing as you're just doing the normal levels, like at first you're just going like marking a target and they're like, okay, kill confirmed next, whatever. And then you're getting him just like kill fucking confirmed, and he's like, oh, and like when you get hit, like there's one bark in particular that like that is the sound you make when a bullet rips through your body.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, that was a really good one in there, and it was notable. It was notable how good his performance was. As someone who has a lot of games I haven't played with him in it, it's the best Nolan I've heard.
You did good voice, man.
Fucking good. It certainly makes sense why he, went on from there into everything.
Well, it was mainly the Nathan Drake
Sure.
that did him.
Sure. But I like that this is also his favorite role.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Ah.
He said that this was his favorite role. So
You get the feeling it's the one he got to act the most in.
yeah. Great fucking game, and there's some real bonus shenanigans to anybody who tunes in to check it out. It's going to be coming out on WoolieVersus over the course of the week. I think we're about halfway through right now on the LP, and as things as the game pushes you to more extreme ends, and as the morality and ethics start to play a larger and larger role, as you can imagine,
Or lesser and lesser roles.
and lesser
depending.
roles. As you can imagine, are the conversations we have become more and more about those things.
Listen, man.
And someone gets blown the fuck out
Yeah.
harder than they ever have on anything ever.
I feel like I could dice roll who this is pretty adequately.
There is an ass blowing
Yeah.
of absolutely gargantuan
All I'm
proportions.
saying is I've seen you get blown out pretty hard,
Yep.
and I've seen Reggie get blown out pretty hard.
Yep. Everyone's got their turn.
Yeah, everyone's got... Yeah, I knew it. I knew it.
So Spec Ops: The Line, guess what? Pretty good game.
Yeah.
Turns out.